Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So I am going to be talking with you a bit more about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and the ongoing situation with him, and also going to be talking with you what players now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is planning to get rid of in the summer transfer window and that. But yeah, and the first news I'm going to talk about, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So it is very, very likely that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season. Even though the games have been suspended for at least 3 weeks due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. And even if the season wasn't to resume from the 3rd of April, I still believe Solskjaer would still be at Manchester United next season. Even if we wasn't to get qualification for the Champions League, or if this coronavirus, was to not make us get qualification for the Champions League, I still think Solskjaer would be Manchester United manager going on into next season, because there was reports coming out quite a few weeks ago now saying that, Manchester United need qualification for the Champions League to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer another season at the football club. But I think he does deserve another season at the football club. He has now been here nearly 15 months. So he has been at the football club over the year. And I think he has actually been permanent Manchester United boss for around a year now as Solskjaer. But I've got to give a lot of credit. I've got to give him a lot of credit recently, and I think a lot of other Manchester United fans, will give him a lot of credit recently, because his approach to games have been very, very good, and he has showed a lot of tactical flexibility, which is also very, very good to see. And we are in a good vein of form, and we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, and I think this is our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. In this 11 game unbeaten run, we've won 8, we've drawn 3, and we've scored 29 goals. We've kept 9 clean sheets, and we've only conceded 2 goals. So we are in a really, really good vein of form. Now, reflect on this good run of form we've been in, maybe the pressure has eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, I still believe there will be Manchester United fans that will still want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. And you'll obviously get some other Manchester United fans that are determined to stick by him. And I'm probably determined to stick by him by now, but I'm still very sceptical if he is the long-term solution for Manchester United. But I'm also delighted this season as well, because our record against the top 6 sides has also been very, very good. I think we've registered like 17 points against the top 6 sides. We drew with Liverpool earlier on in the season. We've beaten Man City 3 times out of 4 games this season, which is very, very good. And Solskjaer has become the first manager to beat Pep Guardiola 3 times in one season. Also, Solskjaer has beaten Chelsea 4 times as a manager since he got recommended in. He's beaten Chelsea and he's overcome Frank Lampard 3 times. Also, beaten PSG. That was actually, the match. At that point, that was his most iconic moment as Manchester United manager, but that was actually, the match that had got him the job on a permanent basis. He's beaten Tottenham twice as a manager, so our record against the top 6 sides since he's come in has been absolutely fantastic, but it hasn't been so good against lower opposition, so that's been the element of concern. And another thing is as well that, the longer Ole Gunnar Solskjaer stays in the managerial job at Manchester United, the longer he's going to gain more experience as a manager. Because I know a lot of people, including me, have been going on about him being inexperienced as a manager and that. But I've got to give him a lot of credit recently, and I hope the season can resume. And Man United have got a few ambitions this season, and one of those ambitions, of course, is to finish in the top 4. We don't, well, obviously 5th place is Champions League spot for now, because obviously City are banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. Obviously, they've thrown a lot of money at the appeal. Obviously, I said the appeal and that will take a while to process. But yeah, so it'd be still good for us to finish in that top 4, but we are only 3 points behind Chelsea, like I mentioned. And I did say at the start of this season, our expectations this season would have been to finish in that top 4 and perhaps maybe get some silverware on the board. And, if these European games, I know they're banned for next week. But if they are to be rescheduled, then that's good from our perspective, because obviously, if they are to be rescheduled this season, then, we've missed out on the Europa League, because I think we can win the Europa League. We are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. Yeah, and we won it back under Jose Mourinho. And plus, if we won the Europa League, that would be another route to Champions League qualification. Obviously, the FA Cup, them games have also been suspended. But, there's a chance for us winning the FA Cup if them fixtures are to be rescheduled. So it's a chance for us there getting some more silverware on the board. But Manchester United have enjoyed their worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So it's the worst we've ever been in the Premier League era. But on the other hand, we can still finish in the top four. But there is a lot of teams this season in the league, that have been very, very inconsistent. They've been very, very inconsistent, and that they've definitely been inconsistent. But yeah, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now over the end. You're getting a lot, you've heard a lot of people saying, Solskjaer is the worst he's the worst manager Manchester United have had since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, since he's got the job permanently, disregarding this 11-game unbeaten run, his record has been absolutely disastrous. But look at, on the other hand, Solskjaer's record at Cardiff was also very, very poor. He got sacked from Cardiff because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated, did Solskjaer. So this is the reason he did get sacked from Cardiff City and that. But, people revert back to what I said. They're saying he's the worst Man United manager since the Alex Ferguson era. But look at, on the other hand, Man United have not really got the structure to keep sacking managers, because we've already sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. Of course, Manchester United sacked David Moyes after 8 or 9 months. Moyes enjoyed the shortest tenure with the football club. Obviously, Ferguson made a big mistake ever recommending him in. The main explanation why I recommended him in, because they were both Scottish. But, that's the only mistake Alex Ferguson did make by ever recommending him in. And, under David Moyes, we finished 7th in that season. And that's actually the lowest Manchester United finished in the Premier League era. I think last season we actually finished 6th. So it was a very, very poor season last season. And obviously, then after, Moyes, when we got Van Gaal, we lasted longer under Van Gaal than we did under David Moyes. But, we did win the FA Cup under Van Gaal. But again, his philosophy wasn't right for the football club. His football was turgid. This is why we got rid of Louis Van Gaal. He brought a lot of players in. Obviously, a lot of players went. Then after Van Gaal, we brought Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho enjoyed 2.5 years at Man United. He's enjoyed the longest tenure with the club since, the Ferguson era. And Mourinho at Man United, spent, £400 million at the club? Around £400 million. He recommended 11 players in. So I analysed it, the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's. Now, taking into account Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. But Solskjaer was talking recently, and he'd taken a swipe at Jose Mourinho, saying, that he had to overhaul Manchester United, when he replaced him in December 2018. Solskjaer said, there was a lot of things that needed to be changed, such as tactics and players and that. And it looks like now, Solskjaer has got it right, to be fair. The only good thing under Mourinho is that, like I mentioned, won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season. But from my own perception, I think, we recommended Jose Mourinho in too late. So now with us obviously, wanting to stick, with us obviously determined to stick with Solskjaer for next season, that means now I'm very, very sceptical that Mauricio Pochettino will be recommended into Manchester United. Now, I've been reading some reports up about Mauricio Pochettino, and by some people, we've been urged to sack Solskjaer and recommend Mauricio Pochettino in. Now, of course, I was saying that earlier on in the season. But Pochettino has been relentlessly linked with the managerial role at Manchester United, because don't forget, when he got sacked from Tottenham last year, Pochettino, he did say, he wanted an immediate return to management. Obviously, Riesley's come out and said, he wants a return to management, but I think he's still keen on continuing his managerial career in England, is Mauricio Pochettino. Real Madrid have also been long admirers of him. Barcelona went in for him earlier on in the season when they sacked Ernesto Valverde. and quite a few other clubs have been in for him. There's been talks about him reuniting with Tottenham, Pochettino, and that. I think Pochettino and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are totally comparison now. I do believe Mauricio Pochettino is a better manager than Solskjaer. A lot of people believe he can emulate he can elevate Man United forward and get us to where we want to be. And a lot of people are saying Solskjaer can't do that because he isn't good enough to the highest level. But Pochettino hasn't won out in terms of silverware. That's only really my element of concern about Mauricio Pochettino. When Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho in December 2018, that's when we should have recommended Mauricio Pochettino in. Because I think then he actually, was our first choice was Pochettino. But we didn't, we decided our preference was Solskjaer, so we decided to go with Solskjaer instead. But, the reason we stuck with Solskjaer, obviously, is reflects on what I did when he was the interim manager. Obviously, it was a cheaper solution. We didn't have to pay as much to mould as we'd have to have done for Tottenham at that point to get Pochettino. And plus, Solskjaer knows the club very, very well because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under Alex Ferguson's guidance. And that's also something else I do credit him for. But, don't forget earlier on this season, Mauricio Pochettino was in talks with Manchester United of becoming our next manager. And I did say, didn't I, even if, we would have, even if we wanted to recommend Pochettino in, or if we were to get him in at the end of, if we were to get him in, it wouldn't be until the end of the season anyway. So obviously, we can avoid paying any compensation. Because if he was to go into management before the end of the season, I think Tottenham would be entitled to around £10 million in compensation and that. But I've got to say, Pochettino enjoyed a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. The main explanation why he got sacked is how poor Tottenham did earlier on in the season. But, my perception now is on Tottenham. They look totally comparison under, well, yeah, they do. They look comparison now under Mourinho than what they did on Pochettino because they're dreadful under Jose Mourinho. Fair enough, Mourinho enjoyed a good start to his managerial career with Tottenham, but now they are just so poor under Jose Mourinho. But Tottenham made a mistake getting rid of Pochettino, But you've got to credit what he did because last season he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. I think he got them runners up in one season. Did Pochettino. Got them did he get them a couple of third place finishes, fourth place finishes? I think Pochettino won over 100 odd games as Tottenham manager. I think he won around 159 games, was it, in 293 games in all competitions. He won around 113 Premier League games out of the 202 he managed. So very, very good manager is Pochettino. And so far he's managed a total of 3 clubs, 5.5 years with Tottenham. Before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton. He enjoyed a really short tenure with Southampton. I've got to credit what he did at Southampton because he did really, really good with Southampton. Did Pochettino. I think he guided them to their highest finish. And before he was at Southampton, he was at Espanyol. So he's managed 3 clubs, but 2 of them have been Premier League clubs. And he's been managing since 2009. So he has been managing Pochettino for over a decade and that. But if he was to come in, he would be our 5th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. But I don't think he will be. I think, we'll give Solskjaer another season. If it doesn't work out next season, then maybe we'll get Pochettino in. That's if he hasn't, got another job. Don't forget earlier on this season, Massimiliano Allegri, was linked with a managerial role at Manchester United, and it did say he was keen on coming to manage Manchester United, was Massimiliano Allegri. Don't forget he's been managerless since the end of last season when he did resign as Juventus manager. But, even us changing manager, isn't always the right solution because I've said it all season long, there hasn't only been problems with the management at the football club. There's obviously, a lot of United fans have had doubts about the club's ownership. A lot of United fans have been criticising Ed Woodward, but I don't like the way the football club has been run in the last 6 or 7 years or so. We've obviously, had a lot of element of concerns about our board. But, there hasn't only been problems with the management because not all of the blame does stem from the manager in that. Not all of the blame does stem from the manager. Not all of the blame stems from the manager in that. So, yeah. So, that's the news on all of that topic. Now, I'm going to delve into the topic of what players Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are going to get rid of, what he's going to get rid of in the summer, well, planning to get rid of in the summer and that. So Solskjaer, is basically, planning, he's making plans for the summer. He wants to change his playing personnel. Obviously, so far, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, he has recommended 5 players to Manchester United in 3 transfer windows, and he has spent around 200 million or over 200 million pounds on them. Last summer, he brought Daniel James in for 15 million pounds. He brought Wan-Bissaka in for 50 million pounds. He brought Harry Maguire in for 80 million pounds, and they've all done exceptionally well since their arrivals at Manchester United. And obviously, in January, Solskjaer brought Bruno Fernandes in for 68 million pounds, and Bruno Fernandes is made a fantastic impact, and he is definitely making the difference in the team. Is Bruno Fernandes? He's definitely the best player we have recruited in since the Alex Ferguson era, and recruited over 30 odd players since the Alex Ferguson era, but Bruno Fernandes is definitely the best in that, because like I mentioned, making a difference in the team, very instrumental, his decision making is very, very good, and I think recently Bruno Fernandes has given his overarching view on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Maybe he doesn't really have much of a verdict on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coaching at the moment, because he hasn't been at Manchester United that long, but he's enjoyed a good start to his career. 3 goals, 4 assists for Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, he was a very, very good buy. And of course, we got Odion Ighalo in, and obviously, he's also enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. And Solskjaer recently made an admission saying that he could decide to make Odion Ighalo's transfer permanent. I think it's been revealed how much Odion Ighalo will cost us if we do sign him permanently this summer. I think he'll cost us around £15 million. We've paid around £3 or £4 million to get Odion Ighalo in on loan, and at the moment we're paying a third of his wages. But I've got to say, Odion Ighalo has proved all his confounded critics wrong. He's proved everybody wrong at the moment, because a lot of people are saying, he was a panic buy from Manchester United, was Odion Ighalo and that. But 4 goals in 3 starts for the Nigerian. He's a boyhood Manchester United fan. So he's been United fan since he was a boy. He's the vocal point. And like I mentioned, he's a good cover-up to Marcus Rashford, is Odion Ighalo. So yeah, he's confounded all his critics wrong, like I've just said. Quite a lot of our players under Solskjaer have confounded, their critics wrong, because quite a few of our players in recent years and recently in general, have been criticised. But I've got to credit Solskjaer, like I mentioned, for the players he has brought in so far. But he is still in the process of rebuilding. He does deserve at least another transfer window at Manchester United. Yep, yes he does. He deserves another transfer window. So, the players that Solskjaer is planning to get rid of this summer. So, he wants to get rid of around 5 players. Obviously, we're going to generate some money for their departures. Obviously, since Solskjaer's arrival, a lot of players have left Manchester United. Around 9 senior players have left. Some have gone permanently, and obviously, some of our players have gone out on loan, as you all know. So, the first player Solskjaer's planning to get rid of in the summer is Jesse Lingard. That's obviously not obvious, because obviously Jesse Lingard has received a lot of criticism, reflecting on his poor run of performances. Obviously now anywhere, Jesse Lingard can't even get into the team, reflecting on how poor he has been, Jesse Lingard. You can't even get into the team, and obviously with the arrival of Bruno Fernandes also. And I said reflects on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club. He should be putting much more better performances out. And reflects on the number of years he's been here. Last season, Lingard didn't score 1 goal or register 1 single assist. That just indicates how bad Jesse Lingard has been. I think he's got under 16 months left on his contract. I think I heard that Roma expressed their interest in Lingard. But he's one player definitely Manchester United need to get rid of. So he's one player. Now, the other one is Marcus Rojo. Obviously, don't forget in the January transfer window, we loaned him out to Estudiantes, Rojo. I knew Rojo was going to go. We had to get rid of Marcus Rojo because we've obviously, with us having a lot of centre-halves and Rojo didn't really get in the team anywhere, we just decided to get rid of him. We got Rojo for around 16 million from Sporting Lisbon, and he enjoyed a good 5 or 6 years at the club before he went to Estudiantes on loan. He's returned to Argentina because he began his career in Argentina. But obviously, this summer, when his loan spell comes to an end with Estudiantes, they'll negotiate, or another club will try and get, Marcus Rojo, but we need to get rid of him on a permanent transfer. So that's another player I think Man United are going to definitely get rid of. And David De Gea, there's been a lot of rumours saying that Man United could be planning to get rid of him in the summer transfer window. Now, a lot of Manchester United fans will have different perceptions on David De Gea. Some will say we need to keep David De Gea, reflecting on how good he has been for the football club, because David De Gea has been long serving at Manchester United. He's now into his 9th season at the club, and he has enjoyed 8 years here as David De Gea. But obviously, let's be honest, David De Gea has been a liability for at least the last year and a half or so, and he has been criticised for that, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. But overall, like Solsjaker was saying, David De Gea is still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So it says, not too long ago that, Real Madrid were planning to put around the £70 million bid in for David De Gea. I think if David De Gea was to leave Man United, and even if he doesn't leave this summer, I'm very sceptical from now that he'll, spend the entirety of his career with Man United, David De Gea. But if he was to leave Man United, revert back to what I said, I think he'd go back to Spain. Because don't forget, he's born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend and that's from Spain. So there's no explanation why he wouldn't want to go back to Spain, David De Gea. Don't forget, 5 years ago, Real Madrid were close to getting him, but due to a fax machine on deadline day, the deal never materialised. Don't forget, not only Madrid have been in for him, Juventus and PSG have also expressed their interest in David De Gea. But, we've had David De Gea since the Alex Ferguson era. He's won everything here domestically as David De Gea. And obviously, he's won the club's player of the year like 4 times out of the last 5 or 6 seasons, reflecting on his good run of performances. So I've got to give him a lot of credit for that. Don't forget, last September, David De Gea signed a new long-term contract with the club. I think it was a 4-year deal with an option of a further year. And obviously, he's on 375 grand a week, so he's actually the highest paid at the club, and the highest paid goalkeeper in the world is David De Gea, and he's made over 300 appearances in the Premier League. I think he's nearly made, or has made, around 400 appearances in all competitions as De Gea, but we still get around £70 million for him. We'd get in the 60 odd million or 70 odd million pound range for him, even though he hasn't been really good in the last year and a half or so. Man United did pay £17 million for him from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, the other reason that we could get rid of him is because it's likely that Dean Henderson will come back to Manchester United after his loan spell with Sheffield United. And as it stands at the moment, I think Dean Henderson's stats are actually better than David De Gea's. Obviously not overall, but at this present time. But he has been a revelation at Sheffield United. But I think Man United made the right decision by loaning Dean Henderson out, because, obviously it's gained him more experience. Obviously, which is very, very good to, see in that. And, do you think he's now good enough to become our number one goalkeeper, Dean Henderson? So there's been a lot of rumours of him becoming our number one goalkeeper. So yeah, David De Gea is one of the 5 that could go in the summer. Obviously, Paul Pogba's also been mentioned. Now, he's another one that could be moved on in the summer. Even though Solskjaer recently came out, and this was after our 5-0 win against Lask, he actually said, did Solskjaer, that Paul Pogba wants to remain at Paul Pogba will remain at Manchester United next season. But, Pogba himself came out not too long ago, and he says, basically he wants to commit his long-term future with Manchester United. He basically said, he wants to stay at the football club, and, he's interested in extending his contract. And the main explanation why I think he said he wanted to stay at Man United, because he does believe if he can form a partnership with Bruno Fernandes, and he's aware of the impact that Bruno Fernandes is making in that. But obviously, Paul Pogba hasn't played for the vast majority of this season. He's only played 8 games this season as Paul Pogba. His appearances have been limited due to the injuries he's had. His appearances have been limited, unfortunately, because Paul Pogba is still a very imperative player for Man United. But obviously, like I mentioned, since he rejoined Manchester United from Juventus back in 2016, he's just had a long running transfer saga, and I wish his transfer saga would end. If he either stays and his transfer saga goes, and he goes to another team, then his transfer saga ends then. Because, it's in this year, there's been a hell of a lot of narratives in the media of him leaving. Last summer, there was a hell of a lot of narratives in the media of him leaving. Back under Jose Mourinho era, there was a lot of narratives in the media of him leaving. Obviously, because he had a bad relationship with Jose Mourinho, did Pogba. And as it stands at the moment, Pogba's still got, 2 years left in his contract? Well, it is a year with an option of a further year. It isn't fully assured that Pogba will leave in the summer, but we could consider getting rid of him, because in a way, it would help us with our rebuilding process, because we'd definitely get at least £100 million for Pogba if we were to sell him this summer, maybe even more than £100 million. Of course, Manchester United paid £89 million for Pogba, so he is our most expensive signing. But some people believe, we look better without Paul Pogba, and we don't even really need Paul Pogba, to be quite honest with you. But if we was to play Bruno Fernandes and Pogba in our starting 11, then, I think we'd probably put Paul Pogba as a number 8. We'd put him alongside Freddie McTominay, and Bruno Fernandes would be ahead of them two. That's how I think Man United would line up. That's obviously on the 4-2-3-1 formation. Don't forget, before these games got suspended, Solsjaker did come out and, he basically said that Paul Pogba was set to return to training this week, by the way, because obviously, Paul Pogba has been stepping up his fitness regime. Solskjaer said a while back that Paul Pogba may never play for Manchester United again, but the clubs that have been in for him, Madrid have been relentlessly linked with him. I don't think they're no longer in for him now. There's been a lot of rumours about him going back to Juventus, because he did endure 4 good years in Turin. PSG, Barcelona, don't forget, have been in for Paul Pogba in the past. But last summer, Paul Pogba, revealed that he wanted to leave Manchester United because he was seeking for a new challenge and that. So yeah, he's on that list of 5 players. And Alexis Sanchez, he's the final one. He's on that list as well, of 5 players, is Alexis Sanchez. Of course, at the moment, Sanchez is on loan at Inter Milan. Obviously, despite the fact he's on loan at Inter Milan, Manchester United are still paying the vast majority of his wages. I still believe we're paying him around 300 grand a week, and Inter Milan are paying the other £100,000 or something like that. But, when we got rid of him, we wanted to get rid of him on a permanent transfer, but we found it very difficult, reflecting on his substantial wages at Manchester United, because, this is why. So the only option was to put Sanchez out on loan. But if we can get rid of Sanchez on a permanent transfer, then it's going to totally free up our wage bill. It's going to totally free up our wage bill. But Solskjaer did actually say back in January, that Sanchez would be back in the summer to prove everybody wrong. But obviously, now that is not the case. I don't want Sanchez back at Manchester United. I know as it stands at the moment, he's got a contract with the club until 2022. Obviously, Sanchez did endure 18 months at Manchester United. Endured a very, very difficult time. He had a lot of injuries. I think he made a total of 45 appearances in all competitions and scored around, was it only 5 goals in something like that? But yeah, he was very, very poor. But I was surprised, because I thought when we got him in January 2018, he was going to be an exceptional signing for us. Reflecting on what he did in his 3.5, 4 years with Arsenal. Also played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona. We got Sanchez as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. But he was very, very poor for us, was Alexis Sanchez. Don't forget, he's got a good pedigree as a player. He's won trophies and stuff, but it just didn't work out for him at Manchester United. I don't think he's doing too good at Inter Milan now. Probably Inter Milan will, get him try and consider getting him on a permanent transfer and that. So they're the 5 players I think Man United are considering getting rid of in this summer transfer window. Obviously, we need to see incomings in the summer, don't forget. We need to see some incomings. I think we need around 4 signings this summer. Well, Solskjaer's planning to make around 3 or 4 signings this summer. He thinks we need around 3 signings to Solskjaer for us to become title contenders going on into next season. We want to win the league within the next 3 years, because obviously at the moment, you can say City is still quite a bit ahead of us. Liverpool are strides ahead of us in that. But obviously, analyse it in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe Pep Guardiola won't be City, Klopp won't be Liverpool, so City and Liverpool won't be as good, if their managers, of course, do leave. But I think we can win them. I think we can win the league within the next 5 years. We can win the Premier League title without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think it'll take us another 30 years, like it has done with Liverpool. We haven't won it for 7 years as it stands at the moment. We haven't won it since the Alex Ferguson era. And, that was back in 2013. But we are the most successful team in England because we've won 20 titles. 13 of them have been Premier Leagues. And we are one of the biggest clubs in the world in that, with a fantastic history and a fantastic fan base, like I've mentioned to you guys before. But yeah, I think we need at least 3 signings if we are to become title contenders. And these deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed. We definitely need a centre forward, another one, even with Odi and Ighalo there. We need a right winger, and we do need a central midfielder. But, there has been quite a few midfielders on our agenda. Yes, there has. And obviously, Man United have had injuries this season. I updated you yesterday. Rashford could be back in 3 weeks, that's a lot of positive news. Rashford has been out with a back injury, unfortunately, and he has been a big miss because he has been one of our best players this season. That's when, of course, he was fully fit. Obviously, Martial's been out recently, but Martial sustained quite a few injuries this season as a Manchester United player. So he still remains out. Bazaka's had a few injuries this season, or one injury or whatever. Bay's just come back, Matonwe's just come back. So Fossilmento, I think, has just come back, or he's close to returning. Tuanzebe's just come back. So Man United have had a lot of injuries this season. So if that's on the injuries they've had, Solskjaer's had to make a lot of rotation in the squad and that. But yeah, so like I said, Solskjaer's got a new. He's got to face a new unprecedented challenge now. He faces a new unprecedented challenge. Reflects on the season being suspended for 3 weeks. So if the season is to resume, it's going to be interesting to see how we react when we do come back from the season resuming and that. But yeah, I've got to give Man United a lot of credit recently. A lot of players have improved as well. So I'm very, very delighted because recently, football's expansive. We're playing as a unit and we're playing as a team, and a lot of aspects of our game have improved. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes, on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.